Okay, I'm going to be showing you the epoxy method for applying glitter. I base coated my cup with spray paint already, and I am mixing epoxy right now. I'm not going to use all of this for the epoxy method. You want to use a tiny bit for the epoxy method, but I have to coat another cup, so I'm just going to mix it all together. I use the big tongue depressors or craft sticks or whatever you want to call them. I order mine from Ali Med, I want to say is what it's called. I will link it after I post this. But I mix, for the epoxy method, I don't care too much about the bubbles, but there are going to be some whenever I put it on the top coat of the other cup, which that's why I'm going to do the epoxy method first. Let it sit. All the bubbles are going to come to the top after I'm done applying the epoxy, so then I can pop them with my heat gun. So, grab my gloves. And I'm going to turn on my turner. All right. Now I'm just going to start. I dip my finger in and I pull it down. I do this because I don't want a ton of epoxy on the cup for the epoxy method. You only want a very small amount. Oops. Coming off. Didn't put it on strong enough. I actually think I forgot to push it on, so that would have been my bad. Not the football. You'll notice I don't wear 2 gloves. I think it's a waste. If I get it on my finger, I just use acetone and get it off. And I do get it on my finger. So if you're allergic to it or think you might be allergic to it, I would just advise wearing 2 gloves if you think you're going to be messy. I know it doesn't affect me, so I don't worry about it. And you'll see this is a very small coat. I'm not putting any more on since I put on the first little finger dips, because I still have a ton on here, but I don't want too much to where there's gloopy spots when I put my glitter on, because you'll see if you put too much epoxy in one area and the glitter goes on, it'll be shiny in that area where there's a lot of glitter, and that's because the epoxy is soaking up the glitter and the other spots didn't have enough epoxy to soak up the amount of glitter you put on. So you want to make sure you get it evenly coated. And if you do get a little more than you want, you can always wipe it off a little bit or add more glitter. If you want to use less glitter, make sure you get your coat even. Going all the way to the top here. See, make sure it stays on. Fix the little spot I touched. And we are almost ready to apply our glitter. All right. Depending where I post this in general, if I put it in a certain group that doesn't allow links, I will not link the products. On my YouTube, I will definitely link them, but I don't want to break any of the rules because some of the groups I'm in do not allow links, which I completely understand, but I will name the products and you should be able to find them. All right, and with that, oops. Then I'm going to switch my papers because I don't want my glitter to get stuck with the epoxy, but I'm going to use these to put under my cup that I'm about to epoxy. So, change my papers. Don't mind my messy table and all the glitter that's all over it. Let's do this. All right, I am using Espresso Plum from Yaya's, so you can tell it's been used a bit. And then I'm just gonna shake it on. Oops. You'll see some of the areas, I'll leave them where they're shiny. That's because there's a thin coat of glitter on them instead of as much as there's on the rest. And here, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pour my glitter back in so you can see where the glitter is being absorbed into the epoxy. And what I mean, if you put too much glitter or too much epoxy and not enough glitter, so forth. All right. So you see this area where it's shiny and some of the others are not. This is because there's less glitter here than there is on the rest of the cup. That means the epoxy is soaking it up. When you have a lot of epoxy, you'll have little spots. This just means either I missed some spots or whatever, or I used a little too much epoxy, which I'm not too worried about because I can just add more glitter. But you don't want it to be like a flood coat and then you have to use a ton of glitter when you could have just used a tiny bit. So do the rim. And now I'm gonna go start to head back down the cup. To switch my paper around. Since I'm going back down the cup now. Sprinkle it all over, so there's a little spot right there I don't like. See? And just go down the cup. If you see the shiny spots and you've already stopped putting on glitter and it's only been a couple minutes or so, you can go ahead and add more glitter to those spots because that means they don't have enough glitter on them. I am very liberal with my glitter, as you can see. I just throw it back in the container, so it doesn't really matter if a lot of it comes out. Pour this back in the shaker. Whoops, look at that. Huh. Well, the good thing about it is this little bit will be in my little home mix of glitter that I've thrown on the counter, because I'm gonna be honest, it happens a lot. So, all right, now I'm gonna get some on the bottom, and there we go. And now I'm gonna do something weird at the bottom of the cup. So move this here. So this is because I don't want to turn off my turner and I'm lazy. So I just slowly pour it over my paper. All right. And that is the epoxy method. Now that my table's a mess with water. But that is it.